What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. So, my homie Steve Willis, shout out Steve Willis. It's my homie from high school, Morgan Park High School to be specific. He went through. He's a huge NFL fanatic, and he's a budding NBA fan. And he went through. He's been watching the NBA offseason closely, just like everybody else in the world, and he's noted the differences between the two leagues. And I'm gonna go through his points, and I'm gonna discuss each one and see and show you how different the NBA and the NFL is. One, he said first round draft picks aren't valued the same in the NBA as they are in the NFL. Two, injured players get big money in the NBA compared to the NFL. Three, the stars run the league without a doubt. So we're gonna go to the first one. First round draft picks aren't the same in the NBA as in the NBA. They aren't valued the same in the NBA as they are in the NFL because we just saw what the Clippers give up like 5 picks, some crazy amount of picks to get Paul George on their team. Meanwhile, Jerry Jones was struggling to figure out if he wanted to give up 1 pick for Amari Cooper. He was trying to figure out if that was too much. We had some fans in Chicago that was concerned about, did we give up too many picks in exchange for Khalil Mack? Now, I was not in that group at all. I knew Khalil Mack was the real deal, and we very very needed him. We needed him a lot, right? Because I knew it would take our defense over the top, which would translate to more wins because we already had a solid defense, already had a top eight defense or something like that in the NFL, right? I knew adding him would make us one of the top, if not the second best in the NFL, without question, right? But people were like, it's like, why do NFL teams be reluctant to give up these picks? For one, the NFL team they value younger, fresher players over everything, right? Because those seasoned veterans, like you can try to pick up a seasoned veteran, but depending on the position that they play, they would rather have younger guys in there compared to old veterans, especially if it's a running back. They would always take a young, fresh running back over a running back that's been in the NFL for 5 years without question. Without question, they'll do that because the NFL is more physical than the NBA. And after about 4 or 5 years, a player could be done. They can be a completely different player than what they were their first 5 seasons, the first 4 seasons. They can be completely different because injuries occur a lot in that sport, and it can slow down a player a lot, right? And in the NFL, one star player does not change the trajectory of your whole season. It doesn't. You need a collection of very very good players and one or two great players to take your team to the next level, for sure. Like in the NBA, one star player could be the difference between being a lottery team and being a playoff team. I watched Carmelo Anthony. The year before he got there, the Denver Nuggets were a for sure lottery team. They were horrible. When Carmelo came, they went to the playoffs and kept making playoff runs. They didn't go far in the playoffs because he wasn't enough, and he wasn't that dynamic of a star to get them deep in the playoff runs, except at one time. But he took them to the playoffs for sure, and they were a successful team that was above 500. In the NFL, you can have a star linebacker, and if your defense is trash all across the board, you're not going nowhere. You can have a star running back. If your offense is trash all across the board, you're not going anywhere. So they're like, look, we're not going to give up all these picks, this collection of picks for this one player if we already got a bad team. No. If the defense is already bad, we're not going to give up all these picks that we could spend on getting a solid defense all across the board on this one great defensive player. We're not going to do that. We'd rather just sign them to a big contract. That's what they rather do, rather than give up those big time, all those picks. They're not going to give up a lot of first round picks. First round picks are extremely valuable in both sports. Let me say that they are extremely valuable in both sports. But in the NFL, listen, you're not going to put all your eggs in one basket more than you would in the NBA. If you can get Kevin Durant, if you can get LeBron James, if you can get Anthony Davis, if you can get Giannis Antetokounmpo or Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, if you can get him, you're going to give up several first-round picks because you know for sure it could lead to you making the playoffs or the conference finals or even the NBA finals. Hell, if you got an all-time transcendent great player, one player can change everything on a basketball team. Cannot happen in the NFL. It can't. You got to have multiple, a really solid team around that player to really have that, for that one player to be that impactful. Number two, injured players get big money. Why is that? The NBA is a star-driven league. So Kevin Durant at 60 to 75% is still good for 20 points and a nice amount of rebounds. For sure, he can shoot from anywhere on the court. He can pull up from 30 in his sleep. They're going to pay Kevin Durant that big money because they know they're going to get what, they're going to get in return what they're looking for sure. The NFL is too physical to give out big contracts to a player that's coming off an ACL injury or an Achilles injury. It's not going to happen unless he's a very, very young guy. If he's a guy that's 27, 28, nah, it's not happening. A player at Kevin Durant's age is not getting a big-time contract in the NFL. It's not happening. The NBA is not as physical. And listen, it's a star-driven league. Having a star on your team means more revenue. Seriously. I think the NFL is more team-centered more than player-centered, player-driven. Like, you have more in it. Like, it's rare that it's rare in the NFL that you see a fan follow a certain player. They follow the team. In the NBA, you have fans who follow a player, right? I'm a huge LeBron James fan. I'm going to root for LeBron wherever he goes. I'm going to tune in for whatever team he plays for. I'm a Derrick Rose fan. I'm going to tune in to whatever team Derrick Rose plays, and I'm going to cheer for that team. Well, really cheer for that success of that player, but I'm going to follow that team for sure because one of my favorite players is there. I'm a Bulls fan at heart, but if the Bulls trash and D Rose over here, LeBron over there, I'm going to look at those teams' success, and you're going to follow that team closely. The NFL, nah. You can love Khalil Mack, you can love Aaron Rodgers, you can love Odell, but most fans are going to stay loyal to their team. This is how it is. In the NBA, star power brings revenue. People are going to come out in bunches because people that not even living in your city are going to root for that team that got that key player. I'm telling y'all, you're going to see a huge influx of Clippers fans now that they have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. You're going to see a huge influx of Lakers fans, even though the Lakers is a historic franchise. They've been had fans before, but now they're going to actually be a very good team because they have LeBron added with Anthony Davis, added with Boogie Cousins. You're going to see that happen. You're going to see a huge influx of fans for sure. You're going to see a huge influx of fans due to the fact that Zion Williamson is in New Orleans. You're going to see that. You're going to see some fans because some Grizzlies fans emerge because they like Ja Morant that much. So it's just a different thing in the NBA. They're going to give the star players big money, even if they're injured, because they know they're going to get it. They're going to get it on the back end. They're like, I'm going to get return for my bread because he's going to have the fans coming out in droves. And an injured player can still be super effective, even if he's coming off an injury. You're still going to pay KD that money. You still going to pay LeBron that money. You still going to pay Anthony Davis that bread. Like, for the most part, you're going to pay Steph Curry that bread still. Because you know he's that dynamic and he can change the trajectory of your team. 3, the stars run the league in the NBA compared to the NFL. Owners run the league in the NFL. Why do we say that? Why do I say that? Why did Steve say that? Because players often get what they want eventually in the NBA, especially as of recently. Since we've had more players become outspoken. We've seen LeBron James be more outspoken, and all these different players expressing, trying to gain control of their careers and taking their careers into their own hands. Look, a player can request a trade, and in the same week they can be gone, possibly to the team that they want if a deal can be worked out. the executive will try to work out a deal with the team that the player wants to get traded to a lot of times. We saw it happen with, especially if the team has something that they want, they'll try to get that deal worked out. Paul George got traded within a week. We saw it happen. Anthony Davis wanted to get traded from New Orleans. Took a while, but he got traded to the very team that he wanted to be traded to from the jump. LeBron was levying for Anthony Davis to come, and he got it. In the NFL, not so much, right? We saw Le'Veon want a new contract. He wanted a new contract or to be traded. The Steelers told him, nah. And he sat out training camp because of that, because he didn't get his big deal. And because he wanted to get more money. He wanted to get the money that he rightfully deserved, because Le'Veon was leaps and bounds ahead of the competition. He was doing the thing. He was by far the best running back in the NFL, right? But because he sat out, he had his reputation tarnished. And people were looking at him like he was selfish. Like he was absolutely selfish. And in the NFL, right, they're more reluctant. Again, the life expectancy of an NFL player is much shorter than an NBA player. I shouldn't say life expectancy. The playing career of an NFL player is much shorter than an NBA player, right? And the lack of guaranteed guaranteed contracts makes things fuzzy, right? So they're not gonna want to pay you for real. Even if you're top in the league, if they feel like you're getting older, they don't want to pay running backs that big money as they get older. Like, nah, we're gonna create this thing called the franchise tag, where it's our last resort to keep an unrestricted free agent, and they lack long-term security. Gives the team the option to keep a player if a deal cannot be struck, and also buys time for both teams to reach a long-term deal. And eventually, if they don't, they say, okay, well, you walk. I believe this is how it works. The franchise tag is kind of confusing to me. Y'all can let me know. But players, the NBA players, they often request trades. They get it done. A lot people, as of recently, people have been getting traded to where they wanted to go. It does not happen like that in the NFL. The owners be looking at you like you crazy. Nah, we not doing what you want to say. It's what we want to say. We not paying you the bread that you deserve, because we're trying to find a way to not pay you and still get bang. We don't want to pay you that much money because we feel like you're not going to be that good in 2 years. We'd rather start with somebody fresh. So we're going to franchise tag you, keep you here for at least this year, and then, hey, if we can't figure out a deal, you can walk. But we're going to get this one more year out of you. And hey, if you get injured, it is what it is. Hey, you ain't got no long-term security, but you got a little money. You get some money for this year. And those NFL players, they want security. It's not granted in the NFL. It's not really granted at all. And it's crazy, right? I said stars run the league. Stars in the NFL and the NBA can say, I want to get paid. And other stars support that rhetoric. Like, look, pay that man. He's a great player. He deserves to get paid. Give him his money. He's worked hard for it. You know he's a life game-changing player. If life is much better for NBA fans when Kawhi Leonard is with the Clippers, when Paul George is with the Clippers fans are much happier, right? They're going to give them their bread. It doesn't always work the same. It doesn't work the same in the NFL. It doesn't. In the NFL, if a player wants more money, you have other players that will criticize that player and say, he's selfish. He's not for the team. Le'Veon Bell wanted the bread that he rightfully deserved. You had NFL, his own teammates call him out continuously, saying he was selfish, he wasn't acting in the best interest of the team, yada, 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 throwing him under the bus left and right because they felt like he was selfish. He should come back because they had a chance to make a Super Bowl run. Family, I'm with Le'Veon Bell. I'm trying to gain security. This is my life. I'm out here doing the damn thing, getting busy time and time again for the Steelers, and they're struggling to figure out if they want to pay me long term, and I'm the best running back in the league, and y'all don't have my back? That's crazy. In the NBA, that rarely happens. Rarely happens, especially now in today's game. Now, back then in the 80s and 90s, I'm sure it was like that back then, because they like, look, we play for the love of the game. Today's players like, look, we got to get paid. We're going out there entertaining people. We do things that most people wish they could do. We're performing. A lot of people are outperforming their contract a lot. So, and some people aren't performing up to it, but still, they look like the market dictates this amount of money for me. I'm trying to secure the financial well-being of my family and my children and my children's children and my children's children's children, right? So they look like, look, we're not gonna go and throw other players under the bus because they want more money. We're not gonna throw our teammates or players across the league under the bus for asking for more money. In the NFL, the rhetoric is more team first. It's often more about the team. NBA be like, look, yeah, okay, we're team centered, but we know you got to get what you need. We know you got to get taken care of, which is why you see LeBron James lobbying for the team to pay J.R. Smith, even if you feel like they overpaid and they put them in a bind in the salary cap or whatever. But they were lobbying to pay. LeBron lobbied to pay J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson, after they helped to secure a championship for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He like, look, pay them boys, pay them. He put pressure on the front office, and they got it done. So in the NFL, you're rarely going to see that happen. Nah, it's more of a team thing, and the quarterback, when he paid most of the time, he cool. Not all the time, but most of the time, he cool. He paid. He cool. He paid. Like, look, they got to do what they got to do. Tom Brady, I've seen Tom Brady take less. Some other quarterbacks have taken less as well, but now it's more about the team first more than anything. And if the team isn't put first, you're villainized because you asking for more money and, I don't get paid as much as that. Well, my man, your position doesn't determine the outcome of the game more than Le'Veon Bell's position. I forgot, one of them dudes said there was the offensive tackle or something that was criticizing Le'Veon, or I'm like, yo, or something. I don't know. I didn't like the team throwing Le'Veon under the bus like that. But you see the difference. You see the difference between how what happens when an NFL player lobbies to get paid or asks to get paid versus when an NBA player asks to get paid. Two different things, right? Also, in the NBA, people can say that the salary cap is manipulated more easily. In the NBA, a good team will keep being good for years with the same bunch that they've had. In the NFL, in 1 year, a team could be in a Super Bowl. The next year, they won't make the playoffs. It happens like that because players get injured, players move, teams get better. Sometimes it's just weird. And the fact that it's one and done in the playoffs. Sometimes they have. Well, I said not even just not making a Super Bowl anymore, but teams be in the Super Bowl 1 year and don't make the playoffs the following year. I think that happened to the Carolina Panthers. The year they went to the Super Bowl and was tearing through everybody in the league. The next year they didn't even make the playoffs. So a good team could keep being good for years and years in the NBA. We saw it. When the Pistons won a championship, they still were good for years and years and years. We saw it happen. The Celtics, even with the big three, they won that one championship, but they were still contenders time and time again. They didn't have a drastic fall off like they did, like it happens in the NFL. So these are the differences between the NBA compared to the NFL, right? And I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm an NFL fan. I'm not trying to make it seem like the NBA is that much better than the NFL. But as far as player security, financial security, the financial security is much better in the NBA. Look at all these players getting these big bags, man. Look at all those players getting these big bags. And even when they're hurt, even you got other players on other teams lobbying for players to get paid. They ain't hating on other players. They like, look, we want him here for the success of the team, but we know he got to do what's best for himself and for his family. And we support that, right? First round picks, they giving up every which way in the NBA. Not so much for the NFL. The games are two different games because of the physicality, for sure. The physicality is an underlying cause between the two different things in the league, and not even just the physicality. Just the mindset is just different. I don't know. There's just the team first rhetoric. Sometimes that rhetoric in the NFL, it can be very good, but it can be harmful. And I don't agree with it all the time because People use that as a way to say you shouldn't be complaining about what you ain't getting paid because other guys making less than you on the team. Well, damn, I'm sorry. The kicker shouldn't get the same that the quarterback or the wide receiver or the running back gets. The offensive tackle is never going to get paid as much as the quarterback gets. Sometimes as much as the running back gets. It's not going to be the same. The running back going to get his big bread because he's at a position that plays a position that drastically changes the game. And I know the offensive line blocks for him, but he still got to hit those holes, baby. It is what it is, man. But the leagues are run completely different. The mindset is different. They're just ran completely different. And it's more of a individualism thing in the NBA compared to, it's a company man thing in the NFL a lot of times. It's the owners run most of the things in the NFL. Players run everything in the NBA for the most part. GM's got to make the trade calls and all of that. Of course, the executives got to do their thing and get busy. But I think the players have more say-so in the NBA than in the NFL. Machiavelli Mills TV. Shout out to Stephen Willis, man, for giving me that topic to talk about. Machiavelli Mills TV, I'm out.